Keisha Rogers. I am a certification officer with the City of Chicago Department of Procurement Services. So I'll be the one that will be going through pretty much the slides for you. As Jackie mentioned, if you have any questions, if we can kind of hold off to the end, and then we'll pass around the microphone because, like she said, it's being recorded so that other people who might have the same questions as you, they'll be able to hear your questions. So you guys have a copy of the PowerPoint presentation. And then even after we're done, because I think they only go till 3 o'clock, and then I think they have another one afterwards, then we can, I'll be here to ask any questions. We also have Victoria Wright. She's a senior certification officer here. I think she's going to stay around, so if you have any questions as well. Okay, so we'll get started. So pretty much the department overview. Who are we? So the Department of, Department of Procurement Services is the contracting authority for the procurement of goods and services for the City of Chicago. So we work together as a team and with our customers to guarantee an open, fair, and timely process by establishing, communicating, and enforcing superior business practices. DPS is committed to providing information, resources, and tools to assist you in your efforts to compete for City of Chicago contracting opportunities. So we accept and review new applications for certification, annual no-change affidavits, and recertification applications every 5 years. So we'll get a little bit more into that in this presentation. We contract compliance with negotiated contractual MWV-DBE participation goals. So you'll get familiar with some of the acronyms and everything that we use for the certifications. There's so many, usually we just say MBE is minority, business, enterprise, et cetera. So you'll kind of see that. We set standards for contract participation for the MWBEPD and VBEs as well as DBE and ACDBEs. We assist vendors through our websites, which these are two that you have that are really important for certification. So we have www.cityofchicago.org/procurement and chicago.mwdbe.com. So that's the last one is the one that you actually go to complete your certification application. All right. So the different certification programs that we have. MBE, which is the Minority-Owned Business Enterprise. WBE, the Women-Owned Business Enterprise. VBE, which is fairly new, the Veteran-Owned Business Enterprise. BEPD, businesses owned by persons, people with disabilities. DBE and ACDBE, those two are actual federal programs. The other ones that I just mentioned, those are local programs. So you have the DBE, which is Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, and ACDBE, Airport Concessions Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, okay? So what do? So you need to submit your applications online, like I said, via their website, the chicago.mwdbe.com. The application fee is $250, okay? That's for the local program. There's no fee for DBE and the ACDBE, which are the federal programs. So we accept certified checks, cashier's checks, or money orders when you get ready to submit your fee. So once you submit your application, pretty much what you'll do is you'll submit it, and then you'll wait to receive an invoice from us, okay? So once you receive that invoice, then you can go into one of the payment centers or mail in your $250 payment. And you'll have an invoice that'll give you all the directions on where you need to send it or where you can go in to send it. And you'll need that invoice when you actually go into one of the payment centers, okay? So it seems like my stuff is out of order. Okay, so one of the certifications, like I said, is fairly new, is the Veteran-Owned Business Enterprise. So veteran means a person who has served in the United States Armed Forces and was discharged or separated with honorable conditions. So pretty much the only thing you would need to provide to us to prove that it would be the DD-214 or the DD-215. That's what we use as support that you were actually discharged from, the Marines or the Army or whatever, honorably. If a vendor does not have those, then they have to contact the Veterans Administration. So veterans, that's pretty much all we need for that certification. So the VBE means an enterprise which is at least 51% owned by one or more veterans in the case of a publicly held corporation. At least 51% of all classes of the stock of which is owned by one or more veterans, who manages and controls the management policies, major decisions, and daily business operations. And it's certified by the city as a veteran-owned small local business, certified by Cook County as a veteran business enterprise, certified by the state of Illinois as a qualified service disabled veteran-owned small business or qualified veteran-owned small business, verified and approved by the United States Department of Veteran Affairs as a service disabled veteran-owned small business or veteran-owned small business. So that's a lot, but that is all in the regulations. So if a person is already MBE or WBE certified and they can add the VBE certification, then the only thing they would need to do is do an expansion request, and then pretty much submit that DD 214 or the DD 215 that I discussed earlier. So what are the benefits of certification? It provides visibility. So once you are certified, you're listed in a directory, which is accessible to the general public. So you go into that directory, anybody can go into that directory and pull up the certified firms. There are minority, women, veteran, and disadvantaged business participation goals on City of Chicago projects and with their sister agencies. There are businesses in the private sector also that look to see, they want to hire, certified businesses. The City of Chicago also has a target market program, which provides exclusive bidding to certified minority and women-owned business enterprises. So this allows certified businesses to take 100% of the contract because there are no subcontractor goals associated with that project. So do you qualify? So qualifying groups are African Americans, Hispanic, Asian, Native Americans, women's, veterans, persons with disabilities, and other individuals who can prove social and economic. So if you feel like you don't fall under that, there is a form that you complete, and you can go before a board to actually argue why you feel like you're ethically or socially disadvantaged. You also have to be a local business, okay? So your principal place of business and majority of your full-time workforce has to be located in Cook County, DuPage, Kane, Lake, McHenry, or Will County. So remember I said those MBE, WBE, all of those are local programs, so you have to be local in order to qualify for those programs. Now the DBE and ACDBE programs, which again are federal, you can be located in anywhere in Illinois to qualify for those programs. For all of the programs, the qualifying applicant has to be 51% owned, controlled, and managed by a minority, a woman, a veteran, or a person with a disability or socially or economically disadvantaged individual. So that number, 51% or more, is very important, okay? The MBE, WBE, and VBE must not be an established business. So that means your gross receipts must not exceed $38.9 million averaged over 3 years for non-construction firms, and construction firms is averaged over 5 years. So pretty much think about it, if your gross receipts are 38.9, you are not a small business, you are not disadvantaged, right? DBE cannot exceed 23.98 million, or the SBA size standards averaged over 3 years. So for the DBE, we also look at the SBA size standards and see which one is less, pretty much, to determine if you exceed those gross receipts. For ACDBE, it's not to exceed 56.42 for most firms. Okay, so some exceptions do exist for the ACDBE. We also look at personal net worth standards for the MBE, WBE, and VBE. This only applies to construction companies when we look at the personal net worth statement. And it's currently 2.2 million. So if your personal net worth, again, goes back to the same thing, it's 2.2 million, then you're not under construction. If you're not construction, then we don't look at personal net worth. Then you're not qualified to be a part of those programs. That figure is actually evaluated annually by the City of Chicago. For DBE and ACDBE, that limit applies to all people, no matter if you're, what code that you're requesting to be certified in, and it's currently 1.3 million, and that is adjusted by the U.S. Department of Transportation. So the calculation of personal net worth excludes the value of your primary residence and interest in your certified firm. So if you're a construction company and you have to fill out the personal net worth, it kind of breaks it down for you so you can see what you need to include, what you can exclude from that figure. So what we will need from you is your contact information, the type of certification that you're seeking. Are you looking to be an MBE? Are you looking to be a W? Are you looking to be a veteran-owned? We need to know that, of course. The BEPD requires the Schedule G form. And again, the VBE requires the DD-214 or the DD-215 form. We look at ownership information, employee information, facility information, financials, licenses for the applicant and the business. So depending on what area you're requesting to be certified in, if you are required to have a license by the state or by the city of Chicago, then we do require those licenses. You will also submit resumes. We request evidence of executed contracts or invoices. So even if you are a startup and you don't have those yet, that's fine, but these are just some of the things that you know that you might need to provide to us. Driver's license, birth certificate, proof of your equity contribution, how much did you use to start up your business, where did that come from? We ask for that. We need that supporting documentation to make sure exactly who is putting funds into your business. Bank account information, organizational charts, equipment lists, loan information, etc. Are some of the things that you would have to submit to us. And again, like I said, if you don't have that, it's just a matter of pretty much uploading a document and saying, hey, I'm a startup company, I just started last year, I don't have 5 years of tax returns or whatever you may have, okay? So now I'm going to actually turn it over to Maria Prado. She's one of the consultants, and she's going to go through a few things with you guys.
All right. So Maria Prado with Prado and Renteria CPAs. And before I start, I would like to know a little bit about who you represent. Can I see by a show of hands how many of you are already in business? Most of you. Okay. And show of hands again. Any of you are sole proprietors? Okay, great. Any general partnerships? Okay. Any corporations? Okay, most corporations. Any limited liability companies? Okay. Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you. Gives me an idea about how to cover this information. So what do we need from you in terms of financial documents? We need 3 years of, it says here, federal tax returns. I would add corporate tax returns. And in the case of a construction company, 5 years of business tax returns. So what does this mean? For a sole proprietor, this would be your individual tax return because your business information will be included on Schedule C. This is the same thing for a limited liability corporation that's treated as a disregarded entity. When you have a sole owner for a limited liability company, you have the option of having your company's information included in your personal tax return. So if that's the case, then we would just need 3 years of your personal tax returns, which would include the business. We also need 3 years of your individual tax returns. And if you have more than one partner in the business, we need the individual tax returns for both partners. When you have an S corporation, sometimes it gets confusing because you pay taxes at the individual level. So you may wonder, do I need to submit the corporate tax return since I am the one paying taxes? We do need to see the corporate tax return as well, even though the corporation is not paying taxes. There is a separate tax return for the corporation, and we would need both of those. It's the same thing for an LLC that is treated as either an S corporation or an LLP that's treated as a partnership. An LLP can be treated as a corporation for tax purposes or a partnership. So whenever you have a separate tax return for the business, we need both, the business tax return and your personal tax return as well. And in terms of the individual tax return, we also need 5 years for a construction business. 4506T. The 4506T is an IRS form that gives the city permission to request a reprint of your tax return directly from the IRS. And we just need to have that just in case the city needs to verify any kind of information that you have reported. A couple of things that are important on that form. One is the signature. It is very critical that we have a signature on that form. Sometimes we get the form, but it's not signed. So for the certification application, it is not valid if it's not signed. And I should say that it's the same situation for tax returns. It is really important that the tax returns be signed. Nowadays, since tax returns are submitted electronically, the IRS accepts them electronically, there is a signature page that the IRS receives in an authorization page. So the IRS does get that, but we don't. So we need to have a signed tax return. So if you would observe that and sign the tax return just for purposes of submitting it with your package. You would also need a signed tax return for other purposes, just letting you know whenever you submit it for any type of official purpose. So if you submit it for a loan application, you will also need to have a signed copy of your tax return. So it's important to observe that little details are critical in the application process. And back to the 4506T, another component that's really critical is the type of form that you are providing permission to the city for. So this would need to be consistent with the type of tax return you're filing. So for sole proprietors, this would be giving the city permission to access the 1040. If it's an S corporation, you're getting 20S. So you would state the type of return that this form is valid for. So otherwise, the form is not valid. If you do not fill that section out, the form is not valid, even if it's a signature. So it doesn't say what it is for. W-2s and 1099s. I don't remember how many years. Is it just a year? For a year for your W-2s and 1099s. And it is important that if you submit the entire package of W-2s and 1099s. Personal network statements, as Leticia mentioned, these are only required for construction firms and all new DBE, ACDBEs. I'm going to go over the types of businesses that qualify, and along with that, I would like to cover the ownership requirements. This is also a piece of financial information that sometimes we find applicants are not clear about what it means to demonstrate their ownership. So I'll start with the sole proprietor. A sole proprietor is typically it's a company that's owned by one person and has no legal existence apart from the person him or himself. The business must have an assumed name certificate if it is operating under a name other than the owner. So if you open up a flower shop and it's called Margaret's Flowers and your name is Richard, you have an assumed name for your business, assumed name certificate. And that's obtained from the county. And what would we need in terms of ownership for a sole proprietor? So we would need some kind of verification that you are actually the owner of this business. So if you're using your own income of the business will be divided, and the reconciliation of the owners. So we would require the partnership agreement as part of this package. In terms of the ownership, it would be very similar as a sole proprietor. If you're contributing personal assets, you would need to know about the act. What is it that you're contributing to the business? Going up to the corporation. A corporation is treated as a completely separate entity, separate from its shareholders, and it requires its
okay. I'm used to it. Lakeisha, it's okay. There is a Lakeisha. Yep. So I'm just going to go, that's okay, no problem. Through the suppliers, distributors, and brokers, just in case any of you all fall into that category. So suppliers must be a regular dealer, which is a firm that owns, operates, or maintains a store, warehouse, or other establishment in which materials, supplies, articles, or equipment are bought, kept in stock, and regularly sold or leased to the public in the usual course of business. Okay. A distributor is firms operating as a distributor are identified as having a direct relationship with the manufacturer to distribute its goods and products within a specified territory or region. The goods and/or products are not available or sold to the general public. So usually if you're a distributor, you would have like a distributor agreement or something like that, okay? Now brokers. Firms acting as a broker are not eligible for certification as an MBE, WBE, or BBE, okay? So if you are a broker, you do not qualify for certification. So a broker is a person or entity that fills orders for purchasing or receiving supplies from a third-party supplier rather than out of its own existing inventory, and provides no substantial service other than acting as a conduit between his or her supplier and his or her customer. It's considered to be a broker. Again, brokers cannot be certified. So let's say you've submitted your application, and pretty much what happens after you've submitted it, right? So the process can take approximately 90 to 120 days from the day that we receive all of your documents. So remember, initially you've submitted, right? You've hit the submit button, and now you think those 90 days are rolling. You still haven't paid, right? You have to pay before we even start reviewing the documents. So it might take us a little while to send you over the invoice, which you'll get via email. Now, most of your communication with us will be via email. So once you hit submit, don't not check your emails no more. Constantly check your emails and and see what's coming in from us, because the better you respond to us, the quicker we can get through your certification process. So you will get your invoice, and then maybe it takes you 2 weeks to pay, right? So your certification application is still just sitting there. So those 90 days really start ticking once your certification officer has everything that they pretty much need from you, okay? So we check your application to make sure you have all of the required documentation, and your documents are thoroughly audited. So you'll be surprised when your certification officer says this isn't signed. Why does it say this here, but over here it says this? We are thoroughly auditing your documents to make sure that everything is flowing and that everything makes sense. If we have any questions, we definitely ask, okay? So, and you might receive a site visit. So if you're a construction company, you're definitely going to get a site visit. If you're a trucking company, you're definitely going to get a site visit. So usually one of our field analysts, they'll come out to conduct the site visit. Sometimes it's one of us. We might come out and do it ourselves, or we'll come out with the field analyst. If you're doing DBE or ACDBE, you're definitely going to get a site visit no matter what you're requesting to be certified in as well. So if you are approved, and I said if, because just because you submit your application, that does not mean it's approved. There are cases where people are denied certification, okay? So then your certification is valid for 5 years. Now that's for the local program. So the MBE, WBE, VBE, and the BEPD, okay? So your first year you get a certification letter. That letter is good for 5 years. But in between that time, you have to file a no change affidavit with us, okay? And when you file that no change affidavit, you do that annually, and then your 5th year, you have to do a recertification, okay? So there is something that is called an expedited process. It's not really expedited, okay? So it's just a way that you can come in and complete your process, okay? So if you're already certified with the Chicago Minority Supplier Development Council or with the Women in Business Development Center, you can submit your application through the outside certification process. So you pretty much are kind of providing to us exactly what you provided to them, your certification letter that your certificate that you have from them. But your certification officer is probably going to come back with a lot of questions that are unanswered because we don't have everything pretty much that, even though you submitted everything to these 2 organizations, we're still going to have a lot of questions and we're going to ask them, okay? You cannot be construction to do those two, as Victoria said, okay? So maintaining your certification, did it go through that? Yes, it did, okay. So again, I kind of said this a little bit. You have to do your annual no change affidavit. For the local programs, again, are 5 years. So if you have any changes, organizational changes, business name changes, ownership changes, you shouldn't wait for your no changes due. You should let us know within 10 days. So that's called a material change, and you'll go into your portal and you would just file, complete a material change notice with the City of Chicago to let us know about that change. Again, you have to recertify every 5 years, and again, that's for the local programs. So for the federal programs, once you are DBE or ACDBE certified, that's pretty much, you're good. But you still have to do a no change affidavit. So you don't have to keep recertifying for those federal programs. Let's say you get certified in something, I think I'm gonna pass. Let's say you get certified in carpentry, and then you start doing mason work or something, I don't know, right? So initially you're certified in carpentry, now you want to expand the services that you're certified in. You can do an expansion. Expansion does not cost. So you have to go back in and do an expansion. You submit your request, include the Nexus codes. I don't know how many people are familiar with Nexus codes, but that is actually the area of your specialty. That's what you're requesting to be certified in. So you actually have to go to and find out which Nexus codes you feel describe your scope of services for your business. If you don't put that in your application, that would definitely be one of the requests for information that we will ask you to see exactly what you are requesting to be certified in. And with your expansion of services, pretty much sometimes we are thoroughly reviewing those documents as well. So you're still going to be providing required licenses, copies of contracts that you have in the area you're requesting to be expanded into, any insurance, current resumes. You're still going to be providing us with information in regards to that expansion. So we do have sister agencies. There we go. All of them are listed. You have them. So CPS, Cook County, Chicago Park District, Public Building Commission, all of the ones that's listed there, those are considered our sister agencies. So we have the phone numbers and everything for you guys if you need to contact any of them. And those are listed because they accept our certification. Okay? And we're reciprocal actually too with Cook County. So if you have a certification with Cook County, you don't need to complete the certification process with the City of Chicago and vice versa. Okay, so you only need either or, either City of Chicago or Cook County. You don't need both. Okay? So, how to avoid the top 10 reasons applications are denied. Unsubstantiated or questionable ownership or control. So one of the things we look at, one of the requirements is that your business has to be 51% or more owned or controlled by the qualifying person. So if that's questionable, you can't really explain that to us, then that's a reason that you could be denied. Unclear description of critical function and who is responsible. So pretty much you need to tell us, as we all say upstairs, tell us your story, pretty much. Who's doing what? Your knowledge in it, your experience in it. Let us know. Don't leave nothing out, okay? The company cannot substantiate where or how startup funds expansion capital was initiated. So if you have startup costs of $20,000 and you can't tell us where that comes from, that could be an issue. Outside secondary employment takes the majority of your time each day. So we're not saying you can't have a second job, but if you have another job and you are there from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., how are you working this business? Okay? The company is not located in one of the 6 county regions. That's I kind of discussed earlier. You have to be a local business for the local programs. Very important. The point of contact did not respond to requests for information in a timely manner. That goes back to I said, please check your emails. So your certification officer will send you a request for information. We actually have in there, you have so many days to respond. Usually for the local programs, we start off, we give you 15 days. You don't respond to that, we give you 10 days. You don't respond to that, we give you 5 days. After that, we're asking for that pretty much. You're unresponsive, okay? So it's very important to be responsive to us, and sometimes people say, well, I gave that to you already. Give it to us again, okay? Inconsistencies with the applicant firm name among various documents. Problems with contracts missing, incomplete, not signed, executed by qualifying owners, or have no corresponding proof of payments. The required documents are not attached, or no explanations given why the documents are not available. So that goes back to if you are a startup company and you don't have something, just let us know that you don't have it and why. So even if that's just uploading a letter on your letterhead saying, I don't have it, and the reason why I don't have it, okay? The tax returns, which have been mentioned a couple times, if you don't submit those, we need them. Again, if you don't have them, explain to us why you don't have them. Signed, there you go, yes. They have to be signed, okay? So, there we go. So where to go for help? So we are located in room 806. Our phone number is 312-744-4900, option 1. So if you call that number, a certification officer, myself, Victoria, some of the other ones upstairs, we actually answer that number, and we're there to help you. The consultant. Okay, so so we're going to have a consultant that's located in the BACP office, which is in room 800. Her name is Stephanie Edmond, and usually, not usually, you have to make an appointment with her because she will actually sit down with you, and she will actually kind of walk you through the process of uploading. So some people, the whole application process is online. So some people don't have the capabilities to scan and upload or whatever the case may be, so the consultant is there to kind of help you through that process. And then there are your area assist agencies. Sometimes they can help people with the certification process and uploading the documents. Okay, so any questions? Victoria has the mic, and then she can walk over. Is it on? Is it on?
I'll start back here.
I have two questions. The first of which is it $250 per certification, or is it $250 and you can apply for more than one certification?
So apply for them all at once. So if you MBE, WBE, BBE, platform all at once, and it's one fee. Okay.
Okay.
So the DBE and ACDBE, the federal programs, they are separate applications, but there's no fee for those.
Right. And that was my second question. Like, what is the difference between the two? Because there's two that don't require a fee, and then there's one that requires the $250. They're two separate websites. One was asking for the approval letter. One didn't ask for the approval letter. It just felt like a circle. Does that make sense?
Okay. So
Yeah.
it's two different programs.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So the MBE, WBE, BBE, BEPD, those are local.
Okay.
Okay. The ACDBE and DBE programs, those are federal programs. So that's what the difference in the cost. Okay. So the federal programs are free. They shouldn't be too, if you're going to apply for them, now they have different sets of regulations. Okay, so maybe that's when you said too, there's different sets of regulations.
Okay.
But when you go to apply, everything should still be under your same portal, but they will be two separate applications.
Okay.
Like you can't apply for the local and the federal all on
the same
one
site.
application. It'll be two separate applications.
Okay.
So basically, DBE and ACDBE contracts are at the airport. So if you're doing some work that you can do at the airport, then you most definitely need DBE or ACDBE. So ACDBE is like a concession at the airport. So if you were thinking about doing work out there, then you need to think about doing DBE. We have a whole different class for the DBE, ACDBE regulations. And if you're thinking about that, but you should try to do them all at the same time because you're going to need all those documents.
Victoria, you want to take that? Right, so if you're requesting to be certified for DBE, ACDBE through the city of Chicago or any of the Illinois UCP agencies, then you have to be located in the state of Illinois. So are you saying that the business is not located in the state of Illinois?
No, so
Okay.
if you're not in Illinois, you have to have certification in your
Your
state.
state, right,
So you have to be certified there first, and then we would consider you an interstate.
right.
So then you can certify here as a DBE as long as you have the DBE from your home state.
But so for like DBE contracting role, you would honor out of state.
Yes, the city would, yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
That's compliance. We don't have anything to do with
Right.
the compliance part. But if your company is in another state, as long as you have that state DBE, then you can certify. And it can go through that,
Okay. Right here.
My question is on taxes. My business and my personal, my personal taxes are different things. So would that be okay if I pay those taxes? My husband's not part of the business. That's, he is not part of the business.
Did you say that your business is in your personal, is a corporation? So you would have your personal tax return and the corporate tax return as well.
So we're trying to, so I just pay my personal, my husband.
I see, yes, yes.
Because you don't have any corporate tax returns yet, yes, yes, yeah.
And I'm just going to piggyback on that. So when you're looking at network, which I don't know, even if I did, so my assets are all equal with my husband, but do you kind of divide that by two when you look at net worth, or do you just say, this is your net worth, and whether or not
Well, when you complete the personal net worth statement, it's specifically geared towards you. So you are going to put down on there exactly what your assets are, what you own, etc. Oh, we're going to let Maria answer that.
how many accounts together that were joint, you know, let's say there's 10,000 in there, then it's 5,000 my piece of it?
Yes.
Or, okay.
That's how we do it. Whatever is joint, you would do 50-50. We have a lot of real estate, individuals who own real estate jointly, and so we ask that they report 50%.
I'm not, so I don't think I have to.
No, you
No
don't.
personal net worth
Yeah.
statement.
And then, so I'm a startup, I'm a one person at work right now, but I'm hoping, you know, that I get the certification, I'm able to hire people. So is that, if I end up hiring people, is that when I would submit within 10 days, the change, or just hiring? No, not it.
Well, when you say hiring people, are you saying hiring people and then adding an owner is different? So are you just hiring people, or you're on it? Okay, so then, yeah, like that's what I was gonna say.
If I started hiring people.
Yeah, no, that's different.
And I'm not paying myself bi-weekly right now out of my salary. So I can just upload a statement like that.
Yeah,
Because I
yep.
won't have, you know, my corporate document. Okay.
Any other- So you must be looking under the PDA, the PDE, because you don't schedule your on-site. Okay, so pretty much, and again, it depends on the industry, on whether or not you'll need a site visit. So when we're ready for that, the field analyst or your certification officer will actually reach out to you to schedule the site visit. It sounds like what you're looking under is the PDEs, which is the Professional Declaration of Eligibility. Help me out. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so unless you are having an accountant or a lawyer or something to actually do your certification for you, that's not the process that you want to go through. Okay? So you're not doing the PDE. Yes, she'll walk over there and kind of show you, because that's if you're having an accountant or a lawyer and they're doing everything for you, then they have to go through the PDE process. But if you're doing it yourself, they don't have to, but they can. Otherwise, you don't go through that process. Any other questions? Okay.
But now I want to, she touched on PDE, so that's procrastination, and then you actually go and hire an attorney or a lawyer to do your application. I'm going to say unless you just thinking about your contact wrong, that you could do it yourself and ask questions. Because like you talked about assist agencies, chambers of commerce and how you're working with them. We have a list on our website of assist agencies. There's usually one in every neighborhood, some are better than others. I would say we research so we can select one. But we do support the business development plan. We got excellent. Chicago Business Association, ICEA. There are different ones that are excellent. I just have to put it in my own on their customers. So they have leadership teams. But they do have very good services and they provide not just certification, but they can help you with signing financing, signing contracts. It's a good resource if you want to go to assist agency or just like you just said, here. And we'll answer any questions that you have.
Yeah, I just have one question about the tax.
No, I'm telling him to wait for the microphone.
I just had one question about the taxes. You mentioned 3 years of personal income, but also for the business as well, right? If your business hasn't been established for 3 years, you're in the first year or whatever, that's sufficing, you would not make it certified.
No, you submit what you have for the business, and we will verify that because normally that will say initial tax return. So then we'll know this is the very first tax return you have filed for your business.
I found out today, well, I've always known I'm a broker. I went on your website I was 81% through the certification, submitting my documents and everything, and came to the brokers part of it, yeah, and so it was like, well, yeah, I am a broker. And on your website, it does say you're not eligible for MBE or WBE, but it doesn't mention BEPD. It does read like in there, yeah, like maybe maybe it's okay for brokers, but it's not. We should include BEPD. So. Yeah,
He's saying it doesn't. He's saying the BBE.
Mentions the other two, but it doesn't mention the better. And
I'm not sure if you talked about the BPD as well.
I'm not sure. We have to. Yeah.
As the BPD.
all right.
What do you provide?
Labor, union labor for conventions that come into the city of Chicago. If they go to a venue, say they have over 500 people, they have to go to a large venue like McCormick Place, Navy Pier. All of that work is done by union employees, all that audiovisual work, anything really being done, electricians, projectors, things like that. I have contracts with all the unions to provide that labor.
So you don't provide people.
I provide what skilled labor, specifically
So
like
that's not-
professional camera operators, things like that.
We don't really consider that a broker, but you can even consider it a temporary agent.
That's how my NEICS or whatever that
Next to
that
go.
code is. That's it comes out with temporary agency as well. But I mean, essentially, I provide people, but they're not from me. They are my employees. I do that W-2 at the end of the year.
You're not a
Really?
because your
All right.
role will be temporary broker. You have to do that. Go to the next code website and put in temporary services. It'll tell you what the next code is.
I had to do that for all my insurance. Yeah. So
Right, so your code is temporary services. You're not a broker because you already have relationships with these unions
for sure.
to get the people, so you're not a broker.
That changed things. All right. So this wasn't a buzz.
I'm glad I asked what you do.
Yeah. Very much so. Very much
So
so.
you're temporary company.
All right. Thank you.
The mic.
You guys have that link or a link on your website?
But you can go to www.nexus, I think it's .com, or the census.gov. Nexus code. Yep, it'll pop up.
It'll pop up.
that's okay. Yeah, a couple minutes.
Do we need to show proof of insurance for our corporation as part of this? I think I see.
Not for activity, I would say no, it depends on what you do, if you need insurance on the application.
Right.
So, I haven't asked for somebody to do that activity or insurance. And I think construction,
Definitely.
then you do.
I mean, I've seen them in the fit, for example.
Mhm.
But you're right, because sometimes you don't write it till it's time for you to get the contract. So, yeah, you would.
It seems like previous like application myself.
Right.
Not in the application, but you would have it.
Oh, but that's a tax question? So I don't know if, oh, okay, that's different. So you can, I mean, like we were saying, you can be a startup company and be certified. So, I mean, I think, so you're saying after, should you wait 3 years till you've been in business? Is that what you're asking? Okay, so no, you don't have to wait 3 years. You can do it, you know, when you start up. It's just a matter of showing those things, your expertise and your knowledge in that, you know, because if you're coming in and you're saying, oh, I want to be certified to build bridges, you need to be able to really show us that you can build bridges, you know what I mean? So it's just a matter of, even if you are just a startup, you know, at that point, that's when you really want to show us that you have the knowledge and the expertise and everything in that area that you're requesting to be certified. Okay. Yes.
Is your business?
Education, yeah. Your resume, your resume. Okay, so,
I started my application online in April. Probably I shouldn't have. I just went online and did it. My deadline then is probably mid-July, I believe, and I asked for an extension. And I was given a 2-week extension, so that July. Like I said, I'm 81% through the documents and all that. I've got a deadline of the 31st. Is there any chance of getting another extension?
no,
And then I lose all that?
he's got two already.
No, I got one extension.
So, for 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, I got one for 2 weeks. Veteran PPD. I mean, I'm gonna try my best to have it all done. I'm pretty squared away with what I got going on. I have all my documents in line. I feel pretty confident I can do this by the end of the month.
Okay. I mean,
Okay.
I mean, you know, if you called and I answered, I would say no, because I thought we were only supposed to give a 2-week extension. So, I mean, you know, you know, so, I mean,
I'm gonna say you probably stopped because you thought you were a broker.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
but we know that.
Because you thought you were a broker.
I think that's how I introduced that policy.
Okay. That's Victoria. That's Victoria.
Together, by the way, so.
Okay. So, yeah, we have to wrap it up, but we'll stay around for questions. No, that's fine, but she just gonna close it out. Okay? So you don't need to.